I'm Leanne Tran, psychologist who's worked with families whose kids don't fit the mould for almost 20 years. I've worked with children for decades, but I know parents are the real change makers when it comes to their kids. Having 3 kids of my own means I know it's not easy. Parent Like a Psychologist is all about simplifying how you support your kids with psychology information filtered through years of experience to take you from overwhelmed to confident. Come on in. Many parents tell me they're waiting for things to settle, waiting for their child to grow out of it, or waiting for the right time. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Parent Like a Psychologist, where today we're talking about what happens when needs go unmet. This is just such a common thing I hear from parents in my practice, and I think it's really hard to know when the right time to get some support might be. But I wanted to talk about, what happens when needs don't go met, when they go unmet, because sometimes that's the thing parents don't know about. The main idea here is that if our kids have needs that aren't being met, they don't stay still, they kind of show up in new ways. And sometimes it becomes a little bit harder to intervene because we have a challenge on top of a challenge. And so, for example, I'll go through in there, but so stress and anxiety and other things can often grow over time. And so sometimes getting help when kids first need it is really, really a good idea. If our kids, need things that we're not able to provide for them, so for example, if they don't know how to regulate their emotions when they're little, what tends to happen is if that need goes unmet, that it snowballs and escalates over time. And so you might have a child who's young and they don't know how to regulate their emotions. That's the type of thing that I help parents with. So I help by explaining it to parents about what your child needs. I give you ideas about how you need to model that by managing your own emotions and teaching your kids that so they can develop the skill. But what happens when kids are little and they don't know how to do it is they might have challenges with things like tantrums and meltdowns and stuff. As kids get older, it can still be there, but kids are having bigger tantrums or bigger meltdowns, or it starts impacting their day-to-day life, whether that's in terms of having them at school, and they miss out on the learning part of it because they're constantly taken out of class. It can mean that then they're really struggling with friendships because they don't know how to handle conflict and manage things like that. So these unmet needs tend to show up in new ways. Then what happens is things like stress or anxiety tends to grow over time. So you've got kids who are stressed or anxious about little things. Now they still are, but they're also stressed and anxious about bigger things, or it starts to prevent kids from doing things. So for example, then they stop going out, or they don't want to interact with friends, or they don't want to go to school. And then we've ended up with 2 problems. It's not just stress and anxiety anymore, it's that plus also social challenges or plus school refusal. So when needs go unmet, it tends to snowball, and almost like if you think about it like in one of those cartoons where things there's a snowball and it's collecting things along the way as it goes. That can happen as well. So not only is the stress and anxiety or the emotional regulation difficulty getting bigger. It's collecting other stuff like social problems and school problems and all of that kind of stuff along the way. And then it becomes a lot more complicated to be able to, give your child what they need. I guess the point of this is to say that often waiting doesn't make things easier. And getting support early, I think, is really about prevention of these things. And it's about, getting help for that initial problem, but also preventing that snowballing effect. Sometimes parents see getting support as failure, but or they worry that they will waste somebody's time. And I want to reassure you that that is never how I see it. I think no matter, if you feel like your child's got needs and you don't know how to meet them, that's the time to get help. You will never be wasting anybody's time if that's what's happening. So when parents see me as a psychologist, I will be definitely taking that seriously and helping you to understand your child and learn what you can do as a parent to meet their needs, no matter the level of their significance. But know that starting now can stop those smaller struggles from becoming even bigger ones. And so my question for you as a parent is to think about, if you've got some concerns about your child and being able to meet their needs, what changes have you already noticed that might suggest those challenges aren't staying the same? Challenges don't pause while we wait. They usually reshape themselves into something bigger or harder or more complicated. And the thing too is that sometimes how we respond can make things bigger, and then we respond in a bigger way and the problem gets bigger. So it's worth also considering our stress levels, because that's something that can increase and become bigger as we're waiting for things to naturally get better for our child. So us becoming more stressed is also a challenge, because it means that we've got less emotional capacity to be able to do things differently, and less resources to be able to devote to our kids. So challenges don't pause while we wait. They can generally tend to get bigger and then show up in different ways. So I want to ask you if you've noticed things about your child that suggest the challenges aren't staying the same. That is a good sign for you that it's time to seek some help. I really want to reassure parents that getting early support is not being dramatic. It's not about panicking, and you will not be judged for your responses. People will not think you're imagining it. It's thoughtful, and it's protective, and it shows signs of being a really engaged and thoughtful parent. It's also about easing your load before it becomes overwhelming. So if you've been hoping things will improve on their own, and they haven't been, if they've been snowballing, or even if they've been staying the same but you would not like them to not snowball, this might be your sign to reach out and get some guidance sooner rather than later. It's food for thought over this break, where we've got time to be reflective and think things through. But I'm here all the time. My programs don't take a break, which is the great thing. You can start whenever you're ready. And when you're ready, I will be there to do this with you, because no parent should have to do it alone. Thank you for joining me again, and I will chat with you soon. Thanks for listening to this episode of Parent Like a Psychologist. If you found it helpful, please share on Instagram so other parents can benefit too, and tag me at Leanne Tran Psychology so that I can say a big thank you. Head over to leannetran.com.au to join the village for bite-sized psychology tips straight to your inbox. I really hope this podcast has brought a new perspective and you a step closer towards a calm parent and a thriving child. Have a delightful day.